You are listening to Unfuck Your Mind with the real, raw, colorful, authentic, empowering, control profanity loving human Zach Lyotis, soul activator, master key holder, and intergalactic elder. Zach loves to find lessons in adversity to advocate humanity one listener at a time. She also enjoys having fun along the way. Check her out at zachlyotis.com to see what she's up to. But for now, let's pass it off to Zach.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unfuck Your Mind. I'm your host, Zach Lyotis, and in today's podcast, I have Lorna Gager. Through the ages of newborn to 5 years old, Lorna walked between worlds, lived in awe and wonder of our natural world. From 5 to the age of 38, she covered up that inner child with layers upon layers of forged reality. She was a good girl, great daughter, great student, great mom, great wife, all at the expense of her true self. From 38 through to 49, which is her present, and she looks fantastic, the reawakening journey has begun. Letting go of her forged self, letting go of her limited beliefs, letting go of being who others wanted her to be, and coming back to herself. Stepping into the role of healer as a coach, metaphysical teacher, and a spiritual counsel. Laura allowed her life experience to guide her to all of the traumas and unfulfillments, needs that needed healing within her. She continues to unfold her growth, learning unconditional love. It will always be a journey, and there is always more, but she is thankful to be back in the awe and wonder of all magnificent universe and the way it works. It's magic. Thank you, Lorna, for being on the podcast.
So happy to be here, Zach. Thanks for having me.
It's such a pleasure just to meet women from all over the world that have gone through what I call the dark night of the soul or their lowest point, and now are these, and I could feel it, powerful healers, light workers, mediums to bring light to other people. Bring us to that. You know, it says from 5 to 38, you covered your inner child with layers and layers, as we all do, of all the suffering. So bring us back to that point.
So, in many ways, I had the perfect life. I checked all the boxes. I did everything that I was, quote unquote, told to do to have a happy life. And, I had it all. I had the beautiful home, the white picket fence, the dog, the whole deal. And I was miserable. I was miserable. And once I was able to admit that, which in itself is a big deal, I think, for all of us, I kind of asked, if I can't be happy, who can? And wow. And that was the beginning of my quest, of my awakening, of my journey, of my unlearning, as I like to call it.
Yeah, we always have to go through this unlearning to go through the learning of the truth and the essence of who we are in our divine birthright. So was the marriage a huge success for you, or was something you felt like it wasn't in alignment with who you are? I don't even know why I'm asking you that question. That just came streaming through me.
It was not a success. I am divorced. Pretty much the entire foundation of my life fell apart when this all happened. And as difficult or as challenging as that has been, it has allowed me to get back to who I really am.
And I like that you say that, because I think I probably picked up on that in my past life. I used to work with a lot of women that needed to find their empowerment, their voice, and needed to leave their significant other. This is something I learned just recently when I did some past life work on myself, because I always seem to attract women that want to get a divorce from their husband. So I probably picked up on that. That's why that question came to me. So it's interesting, because I do have a lot of women that, are married and are like, Zach, I'm ready to divorce. I feel like I am suffocating in this marriage. I feel like this is not me. I feel that there's something better for me out there. Did you have those same thoughts for yourself?
I did. And I don't think I'd let myself, it's hard to admit those things to yourself. And my situation was unique because I married a man with 4 young children who I adopted. And then we added a 5th. And so not only was I, there was just a lot of stuff that could have kept me in the situation. And ultimately I had an awakening, a knowing, a situation that it just came to me that it was time and I had to leave, and I had certainty around it. And thankfully that certainty got me through and has gotten me here.
That's beautiful. I love that you said I had certainty around it and I had to leave, because I noticed this pattern in working with women. I noticed that there's a 15-year pattern. It takes a woman 15 years to walk away, or even a male 15 years to walk away from their marriage, because as much as they're certain, they have this massive fear holding them back because they're so used to having that partner there. And it's like, well, Zach, how about if I'm by myself? I'm like, now think of it this way. Do you want to be by yourself and like totally in love with yourself? Or do you want to be married to someone that doesn't actually stimulate you in any way?
Yes. And ultimately, I think a lot of women are alone in the marriage. They're already alone. So why not actually be alone instead of pretending that there's something there that's not?
Wow. I love that you said that. It's so true. It is that they're alone. They feel like they have this single mom thing going on. I got to take the kids to school. I got to feed the kids. Like their to-do list is huge. So let's talk about the reawakening journey, because this is your beautiful life that you've had now for almost 10 years. And I know a lot could shift in 10 years.
Oh, so much. It's amazing how much has shifted in 10 years. I mean, it just continues. I mean, it started with an experiential workshop and Byron Katie and Eckhart Tolle, and it has just evolved into more and more metaphysical teachings. I'm starting some energy work soon. I've gone from the psychological and the spiritual, and now I'm going into the energetic, and it's just opening more and more every single day.
Yeah, I just look at it as all as energy. My whole life has been energy. And it's so funny because when I was a kid, I never understood it. I still don't even fully understand it. I told my teacher the other day, I said, Lama, I want to say this to you, but I have an idea of what I'm doing, but I really don't, but I really do. And he just laughs at me and he goes, Zach, stop saying you don't have an idea that you don't know what you're doing, because you're always doing it. So you have an idea that you're doing it. And I said, yeah, but the weirdest things happen. Like, why do I have to turn right and not left? Like, then I have to go back and turn left. And he's telling me all these mysterious, mystical, woohoo things as to why things are happening. And I said, we were talking about the ego and spirit, and this is where we're probably going. That's why I'm bringing this up. But I said, about this ego, and he goes, Zach, just to let you know, you're walking in a 5D world, even with your eyes open. And I was like, oh. Shit, now I know when people say get grounded, it'd be like, yo, I am grounded. I'm in 5D all the time. So I crack up so many jokes about the whole process of awakening and healing, because healing, when people look at the word healing, it's like they think that they're broken.
No. None of us are broken.
There's no being broken, right? So what are some parts of your ego that were the hard truth when coming through your awakening that you had to deal with?
Well, there have been many themes, right? And as much as I deal with them, I can, it's the spiral, right? I mean, I can say, oh, I was such a control freak, and I was, and it still creeps up on me, right? There's still areas that need healing. But that's certainly one of my life themes, is letting go of control, leaning back into trust and faith. Feeling like I'm lovable. That's been another theme that I've had to really address and look at and come to terms with, loving myself unconditionally to have the love that I search for outside of myself. Yeah,
it's so true. Everything begins from within. And I've been preaching this to myself for years. And when I go through something, it's like, okay, mamacita, let's see where the problem is coming from within you and why you're reacting like this. Yeah. So what does it feel like to be loved just for yourself?
It's exhilarating. It's freeing. It's bouncing your step. It's giggly. It's beautiful and compassionate and gentle. And I would love to add that it has now been matched in the real world.
Yay!
I did enough work with me, and I attracted it to me. And with a wonderful, beautiful man.
That's so beautiful.
But my latest aha just happened this weekend. I'm always trying to let go of that control, and I'm always trying to get out of my logical thinking brain, which has served me well, but at the same time, has its limitations. And
Yes.
so often, I'm like, well, if I don't plan, how am I going to know? And so it's just this combination of, the universe knows what my intentions are. The universe knows that I want to live in trust and faith and ease and flow. And my only job is in any moment to say, okay, what do I need to do now? What do I need to do now? And this is just something very new that I'm practicing that takes me away from, well, I should be doing this and I should be doing that. And I need to do my Qigong and I need to meditate and I need to see this client and just, okay, what needs to happen next? What do I need to do now?
That's that. You know what? I know, because I've been living that life for a few years now, but you're bringing me back to that beginning when I was like, this shit's scary, man. Like, I remember saying that to Spirit. I'm like, this shit's scary, dude. Like, you want me to be like this all the time? And I could hear Spirit saying, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, whew, that just gives me anxiety thinking that. So you brought me back to that point. But now it's like I wake up in the morning and I'm like, good morning. Thank you for giving me life. What are we doing now? Okay, go meditate. Okay, meditate. Okay, what's next? Go write. I write. Okay, what's next? And you know what the funny thing is? I complete more things in a day than me having this damn to-do list that I just stare at.
Yes, because you're not losing your energy to this have to, should, supposed to, stressful to-do list.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like, I was even saying this to myself today. I'm like, okay, Spirit, we have to finish this stuff by next week. And I hear, yeah, there's enough time. And I'm like, but there isn't. And they're like, but there is. I'm like, okay. So, I'm sitting here and I finished that. I finished 5 things in 5 minutes. I'm like, this is great. And it's so true. It's really about having control of your energy. But I want to ask you this question. What are your boundaries like? Because boundaries are really important.
I'm good with boundaries. I'm good with boundaries. I know, I do put myself first. I know that if I don't fill my own cup up, I have nothing to give others.
Yeah.
And trust me, with 5 children, I gave away way too much for way too long. But I know how to say no. I know what to say yes to. I know when I'm a yes. I know when I'm a no. With my clients, I know how to maintain the boundary to not take their energy on. So I think I'm okay with boundaries.
Did you always have that good, strong sense around boundaries? Because women have a difficult time around boundaries. I know I did.
There's certainly the mother's guilt thing that factored in a lot. I really needed to define what I wanted motherhood to look like for me, because the whole concept of being a good mother can be just overwhelming, because what does that mean? Society will give you 1,000 different things that you're supposed to be good about, and you can just be living on a hamster wheel. So once I was able to define the type of mother I wanted to be, that made those boundaries a lot more clear.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because those were like, boundaries were my hardest thing to deal with. It was like, okay. And I had no problem saying no, because that was another huge, that was a lesson in my 20s. So I had 20 years of experience on that one. It's like, the no thing worked well, but it was the boundaries, because you feel as, I don't know if you call yourself an energy healer, but I know you say a spiritual counselor, but I'll speak for myself as an energy healer. I felt like I had to give a lot more in order to feel like I'm doing the universe's work correctly. And I'll never forget the day when Spirit said to me, reach out your arm. So I reached out my arm and they said, you see your furthest finger? And I said, yeah. From that finger to you is your space. Take people out. And I did that. And I said, that's called boundaries.
Okay.
And it was so hard, because then I sat with it, but I had to remove people and remove friends and family members and whoever it was from that space between my longest finger and me.
You.
And it was so like this relief, because now it's like, I don't have people in my energy field anymore. Now this is you.
Yes. Yeah. And you have to, right. How can you discern what's you and what's them if you don't do that?
Yeah. That's crazy. So what were some limited beliefs that you were holding on to that kept you stagnant?
How long do you have, Zach? No, there were many. But the first one that comes to mind is that life has to be hard.
Yes.
And I'm so thankful to be gone, for that one to be gone. Life does not have to be hard. Life is easy. Life can flow. Any challenges can be managed with wisdom. And it's a beautiful ride.
Yeah, I know. I've heard that one. Life is hard. I'm like, no, sweetheart. Life is simple, but yet the human mind is complicating it.
Mm-hmm.
That's nutty. Yeah. And I love that you say that life should be hard, because that's such an old wound or an old belief that's been put onto us from childhood. And I hear it from my parents were immigrated from Greece to Canada, and they always said life was hard and you have to work hard for your money.
Yes, it's not true. It is not true.
And it's so not true. So what were your experience around that? Did you have that belief put inside of you too? You have to work hard for your money or long hours for your money?
Yes. I would say thankfully that I always understood that money would flow to me. Mm-hmm. So that block was not there, but yes, I had to work really hard for it. And so that was true for the first 35 years of my life, until I understood that I could let go of that.
Yeah. And when you did let go of that, how did everything shift for you?
Honestly, for me, it just made me appreciate the ways that money was always coming to me. It made me stop having rules around the way it could come to me. And, there's another whole concept that we will shun things that we haven't earned. But ultimately, the universe is giving us everything. And no matter where that comes from, we should appreciate it, because otherwise we're blocking it. And it doesn't matter how it comes to us. We just say, thank you, more please.
Oh, I love that. Thank you, more please. Yeah. It's so funny, because I've often told people that, even if someone buys you like a coffee or dinner, you just manifested like $30
yes.
or $bucks.
Yes.
And people don't realize it. So I love that you said that, whatever way it comes to you.
Yeah.
That's, it's just so interesting that when we go through this awakening process, I know you've been on the awakening process since you were 5 years old, because just reading your bio, it's like you had this, like this glory, or this, I'm getting this other word. I'm trying to get the word, but it's almost like this lust and love for life, which was nature. And then it was kind of stripped away from you until you were 38. And then that almost feels like your darkest moment at that age. And that probably feels like when you left your marriage, and now it's like this awakening process. So you went through almost like 38 years of what you learned that you didn't want in life.
Yes.
To be right here, right now with us saying, no, you don't need to go through this, people. Like, this is what it's all about. So what would you give the men and women out there some wisdom if they are going through a difficult time in their life?
To see it as growth and learning, that everything is happening for us, not to us. And as you said, right, I had those difficult times, which of course there were still beautiful times within the difficult time.
Yeah.
But I needed the contrast. I needed it. I often say that if it hadn't been as hard as it was, I don't know if I would have woken up. I don't know if it would have happened. And so I'm thankful for every second of it. And I wouldn't have had it any different. But when we do approach the harder things, the challenging things, with this knowledge that everything is for us and it is for our growth and learning, and that we're going to get to a better place, then it can happen with wisdom. It can happen with ease, and we can move through it as opposed to resisting it and making it that much harder on ourselves.
Yeah. So do you do a gratitude every day?
Not specifically. I mean, I think I'm very thankful and grateful just in general. I go on a walk with my dog, and I am in nature and loving, touching trees, and I have a vast appreciation for so much of life.
Yeah. Oh, I could tell because I know this is, you guys are listening to the audio of this, but I record in video, and Lorna's face is so glowing. Her eyes are just so piercing. Like I could feel the sense of love coming from you. So it's like when I do these, have these conversations with women and men, it's like feeling the energy. I could feel all the love, and it's so beautiful. So thank you for bringing that into the world because it means a lot. We need a lot more of this, obviously, to rise up. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you again for having me here today.
Yeah, and we're not done though. So who is your ideal client?
Who is my ideal client? I work with women who are awakening. I work with women who have kind of, either hit their rock bottom or have gotten to a place where they know that spirit is important to them, that their life could be a certain way, but they can't quite get there. They understand the principles, but they don't know how to apply them to their lives.
So is it only women you work with, or do you work with men as well?
It is generally only women. I don't want to say I never work with men, but it is typically women.
Generally, yeah. So do you find that women are in the process right now of awakening and doing life on their terms?
Yes. I feel like the world is awakening. I feel like we're, there's just going to be a massive need for understanding around what's happening, right? 5D.
Yeah.
But yes, women are stepping back into and being, power is such a kind of, it's a scary word to me because power has always meant power over. And that's not what I mean by empowerment. I mean, stepping into our power so that we can all rise. That if I'm empowered, I can allow other people to be in their power. I think that women are leading the charge with this.
Yeah, I totally feel the same way too in regards to women leading that charge. And yeah, I know power for some women could be such a powerful word, but we need to recognize that power is the spirit within us more than anything. The word is about the spirit within us and how we could stand in that sense of knowingness to get to that world. And it's huge because, I say this all the time on some podcasts, but 2018 was the rise of the feminine energy and standing in their power and speaking your truth and, bringing out their predators of how it happened. And it's going to continue on that. Mm-hmm. However, I feel that it's time for the women to support the men to step into their power and heal their wounds. Because as women step into their power, there's a lot of masculine wounds that we still hold on to that need to be released. And it's not just about empowering men in general. It's about empowering our masculine self in order to bring that rise to the masculine. And I don't know where this question's going, but I'm like, okay, Spirit, what's the question right now? Because we're talking about the masculine. And it's so interesting because I don't have a clue what goes on these podcasts. And I just kind of open conversation, but it's like, is there parts of certain women that you see, or maybe in yourself, that we could empower that divine masculine energy that we hold on to in order to be able to spread the light with everyone else? I
think that the masculine feminine balance is just off altogether. Mm-hmm. I think the men have completely lost their feminine, but I think that in many ways the women have, in order to become equal, in order to step up in the world and get, what we've wanted in the past generations, we've had to become more masculine. And so we have then let go of the parts of us that make us feminine and make us so divine. And so there's a balancing act that needs to kind of reoccur of women re-embracing our feminine, mm-hmm. and men allowing their feminine, right? We're all kind of in the damaged parts of our feminine and masculine. And there's a better word for that that's not coming to me right now. And if we just embrace ourselves as human and as, and embrace our inner knowing and embrace our truth, it can all balance itself out. Because the things that we're especially if you think about women in the workforce, we're just trying to do the whole power over thing. We're trying to suppress our emotions. We're trying to be rational and logical. And that steps away from the beautiful intuition and the slowness of what we can be in touch with as women.
Yeah. And I mean, that's beautiful because we as women have been imprinted that we have to nurture, care, we have to feed our men, we have to take care of the kids, we have to clean the house, and never have been told that we could make those big bucks. It's always that imprint that your man will bring home the bacon. And the women that I work with, they're actually more successful than their partners. And that was another reason why another reason why they split, because partners can't handle that women are making more money than they are. Mm-hmm. It's like that wound comes up as to, I should be the provider.
Yes. And that's the word that I was looking for. The wounded masculine, the wounded feminine.
Yeah.
So many of us are coming from that. And when we go into the divine masculine, feminine, and everyone understands that it's okay to embrace that, right? Men and women. That's when the balance will be reacquired.
Yeah. And I love that this is why we're probably having this conversation, but I love that so much, is that when we heal our own wounds as just a female, then we go into our male aspect. It's interesting because I know I have my masculine energy, and I had to stay in that masculine energy for a very long time, just because it was my survival mode. It was my everything mode, right? Sure. And I used to have, some of my girlfriends that would say to me, Zach, be more feminine. I'm like, listen, I don't have time to be feminine right now, but you know what? I could be feminine if I wanted to. Trust me when I tell you that. And they laugh. They're like, what do you mean you don't have time to be feminine right now? I'm like, listen, I'm in survival mode.
Right. I'm wearing the pants. I can't be feminine right now.
I have be feminine right. And it's so funny because one of my girlfriends, I always crack up jokes, and she's so in her feminine all the time. And, you know, I spent some time with her not too long ago, and she's like, oh, it's so nice to see you being a woman. And I'm like, I know, right? It's like, I just dropped the veil of everything. I removed the mask, and I'm like, I don't need to survive. I don't need to be in this state anymore. It's all taken care of.
Yeah. But it's not that easy to fall back into. I mean, it wasn't for me anyway. The whole slowing down process and re-embracing the feminine was a big part of my unlearning.
Yeah, it's so awesome. So what are some ways that you serve yourself some self-love?
So I have practices that I do. I walk with my dog in nature, as I mentioned. Mm-hmm. I've practiced Qigong for the past 3 years.
Oh, nice.
Which is kind of an energy healing modality. I meditate, and I pay attention. I ask myself what I need, and if it's more stillness, that's what happens. If it's more action, then I am doing more in the world. But I try to really pay attention to what's wanted and needed in any given moment.
That's so beautiful. Paying attention to what's wanted and needed. Whew. That right there, those were some hard lessons for me. I still go through that. So what does patience, I don't know why that's coming up, but have you had to work through patience too?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, patience didn't come along with my previous life, the way that I used to be. But it's a gift to, listen, I mean, my kids are out of the house. It's a whole new world, but being, slowing down and, I lived in New York, everything is so fast paced. Everything is so type A, and to actually slow down it's a miracle.
Yeah. It's hard to slow down.
It's very hard. You have to have some very strong intention around it. But it can be done.
Yeah. And you're talking about being in New York. Like, I go to New York to get that hump and that momentum and that drive and that inspiration. Like, that's my New York thing. Like, mm-hmm. I go to New York and I just watch people just zoom, like zooming through life, so it's funny that you say that. And it is hard to slow down in New York. It's something that requires like a total gift on just its own to go through that. And Toronto's turning into one of those places too. Toronto's very fast paced and moving really quick, but I'm noticing some people now slowing down and just really taking it all in, which is amazing. This has been such a beautiful conversation. I really enjoyed so many aspects of it. I mean, to recognize who you are, and it's never too late, because you and I both did it in our early 40s.
Yeah. It is never too late.
It's never late. And doing it in your 40s, people think that, oh my God, why, like I'm so far behind in life, and looking at, just your essence and just your beauty that you hold energetically is beyond. And to know that you started in your, close to 40, I did the same thing as well. It's just like, no, it's never too late. And there's never an age bracket where it has to be done.
No. And all of those age brackets are more limiting beliefs that society puts on us.
Exactly.
I feel like I'm just starting. I have 50 years ahead of me, 50 really good years knowing everything that I know now. What a beautiful thing that is.
I know. It's like we're doing it all over again because we know everything we know. It's like we're being totally rebirthed. It's like, okay, we're doing life a little differently because we did all the stuff that we know we shouldn't be doing. And now we're going to do all the stuff that we need to be doing or we know we should be doing. So I love that.
Exactly.
And so the next 50 years is going to be the life that I maybe should have had for the first 50 years, but it's never so-called too late. And it is a huge limiting belief. I had people ask me how old I am. And when I say that I'm 46, they're just like, you're 46? I'm like, yeah, what does 46 supposed to look like? And it's so interesting because I said to a gentleman the other day, I said, you look good for your age. And I started laughing because I wanted to hear what he'd say, because this whole age thing, I've been trying to work around it in so many different ways. And he goes, could you get rid of for your age? And I went, no, I want to talk about that actually. I go, how does that make you feel? I think he's like 68 years old, but I really thought he was in his 50s. And because he has so much energy, he was dancing, he's singing. It's like 2:00 in the morning and going crazy. Like we're having such a good time. He goes, that for your age thing, he goes, I just feel that people have this belief that when you get a certain age, you start breaking down. He goes, but I start revving up.
Yeah. Our thoughts create our reality. If you think you're going to deteriorate and break down, you will. But it's not certain. It's up to you. It's how you feel. It's your mindset.
Yeah. And, it's all parts of that. Wow. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Lorna, so much for being on this podcast. And, and I'm not going to say it's never too late, but guys, seriously, if you feel connected to Lorna, just connect with her. All her social handles are going to be in the show notes just below. Life is what we create it. Life is what we think of it. Life is how we feel it. And in every circumstance, in every downhill, there's always an uphill battle that you had to go through in order to recognize that there's an even plateau which you can live your life at your fullest. Once you truly believe in yourself and once you allow yourself to be in your presence and be comfortable with that. So thank you, Lorna, for bringing that to light. Thank you for expressing, your hard times and your glorious days and everything you do with your clients.
You are very welcome, Zach. And thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. So everyone, thank you for listening to today's podcast of Wise Woman Wednesday. We hope and we know that you love this series and this podcast I had here today with Lorna. Until we connect again, stay blessed, keep on thriving, and continue expanding your energy to reach all corners of the world. Until we connect again, stay blessed. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Unfuck Your Mind. Head over to iTunes and leave your 5-star review and comment to get uprising the charts so we can get this incredible wisdom into more ears worldwide. In the show notes, you'll find all affiliate links to what we've mentioned in the podcast or products Zach loves to use. Until we connect again, unfuck 1% of your thoughts and watch how your life shifts.